definitely.
What about your number 4?
Number 4 is a film that probably like what you just, not in the same sense that you just said it, but one that would not necessarily be classed as a horror film, I don't think, but definitely a scary movie. And it's a film called Manhunter, which was in 1986, and it was the first film interpretation of the Hannibal Lecter books. So it was based on Red Dragon. And they remade it. They made Red Dragon a little bit later on. And it's about sort of a policeman who has gone, I believe he's gone into retirement because he was attacked by Hannibal Lecter. He was sort of investigating him. He attacked him. He was troubled by this happening and went into retirement. But he's brought out of retirement because there's another killer, serial killer, sort of going around murdering people. And it then leads him to seek Hannibal Lecter's advice. It's a similar way that it works in the Silence of the Lambs. And the guy, the Tooth Fairy, he's called, the guy who sort of is murdering people, and he puts mirrors in their eyes so like he can see himself looking at them and stuff like that. It's the sort of film that you're a bit like, oh God, like this is nasty. And he looks really funny. He's got a really odd sort of appearance. And a little bit later on in the film, the killer, the Tooth Fairy, starts this relationship with this blind woman. So she only sees him for, like, she can feel his face and knows him as this person who to her comes across as a really nice guy. But you know what he's actually sort of capable of and what he's doing sort of aside from that. So I think there's scenes where he's up to his stuff and she's there and she doesn't know what's going on. Amazing. It's just tense. I don't necessarily like the what's the what are the really gory films? Sorry, this is
Saw?
No, not Saw. I've never seen Saw, weirdly. I can't think when they're in a cabin and like they're just cutting these zombies and monsters and that in half and stuff. God, it's going to annoy me. I can't remember what it is. But really, really gory sort of slasher films of that I don't really enjoy that much. But because it just gets to a point where like, oh, God's sake, it's just like people being sawn off and whatever. But for my favourite ones and the really psychological ones, like you said, you're on the edge of your seat and just sort of not knowing what this guy's going to do next, and the fact that the policeman's already disturbed by what's happened before and he's forcing himself into it. Amazing, setting that scene. Well worth checking out.
I agree, and like you said, touched upon it in my first one as well, and your one. It's that psychological
the suspense of
and
what's happened.
Yeah, when someone's kind of twisted, and you're kind of trying to get your head around the character, but also the writer or the director of the film, where their head was at when they're creating all this. That's something that I always think about. But it's funny you mentioned just then slasher movies, because my number 4 is a slasher movie, or it's certainly described as that in Wikipedia. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but 2003 version.
I've never seen it. I've seen bits of the first one, but I've never seen the second.
So
the remake and such.
I remember seeing. I definitely didn't see it at the cinema, but I remember getting it on like VHS or whatever, and it was one of them first ones where I was probably a little bit disturbed by it. Yeah. Because again, there was that kind of is it Leatherface? I think is the main the guy, and it's a young kind of group of friends going out to have this kind of summer trip somewhere, I think, and then end up going down a wrong path or whatever, and stumbling across this place. But again, all the people at this place, like
They're weird.
Weird.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's all. They're always that way. You know. It's
so
like
remember
kind of
that
in the
original, they're sitting around the kitchen table or whatever, and it's that horrible house, and they're proper.
Very much the same. Yeah. And I just remember it like, again, not kind of researching the story for Texas Chainsaw Massacre is pretty standard. People get killed essentially.
Yeah, he's a monster.
I can't remember if someone managed. I'm pretty sure someone survived at the end and they managed to get away. But it's just kind of like non-stop throughout. Like one person's done, and they're like when the people are being chased, and you think, oh, they've got away, and you have that moment where it's kind of silent in the film.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom! He's there again, and he's hacking through. And just disturbing looking at him.
Yeah.
So like for me,
hasn't he got a face, like a mask made of someone else's face or something?
Yeah, well, that's
essentially what it
exactly
is.
What he used to do. Yeah, because, and I'm pretty sure in that, if memory serves me well, there's a bit where he turns up to try and, kill one of the other characters in it. And he's wearing the face of one of the people, like one of her friends or his friends who he saw. It's proper grim. And messed up. I'm sure if I watched that now, I'd probably judge it in a different way. But I'd like to keep that memory of it being really good at a younger age and being a bit terrified by it. And I think as you get older, certain films, I remember just slightly going off subject, well, not off subject in the fact that we're still talking about horror movies, but an old boss of mine when I was only 16 or 17 was telling me that Evil Dead
that was the one I was just about to say. That was the one I was talking about.
Right, okay.
Evil Dead, those films.
Well, I remember him telling me Evil Dead when he was younger and my age, so 16, 17 from back then, remembers going to the cinema and seeing that and being terrified.
Yeah.
So I went out and got a copy of it on DVD and watched it, and I was just like, really? I can't see, like, I'm watching it, and I found myself laughing more. Like, I'm sure it's that one at the beginning. It's outside this house, and there's like a bench outside on a swing, like swing bench thing. And it's almost like you can see someone's hand in shot just pushing the bench. Like special effects obviously then or whatever just weren't the same. But I was watching it, I was going, God, this is really bad. But again, it's all, I think, within certain times when movies were of a different kind of stage in technology and things like that.
That's it. Those ones were all like Evil Dead, and that was like the sort of budget horror films that went straight to video. A lot of those, didn't they? I found with those that it was just too much. Like, this I think, aren't they possessed or something? Like they get possessed by a book. It's that sort of thing. And it just got to the part, I think I made it halfway through the first Evil Dead film. I was just, oh my God, this is just too much. Because like, someone's possessed, then they like cut through a face or whatever, and then it comes up, and then there's just blood, and they're just sawing people, and like, oh God, it's just, there's no story, like as such. There's no suspense. It's just like this sort of bloodbath, and I don't really
no, I agree.
With it.
I agree.